Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed followers of the truth, and dedicated enthusiasts of the Turkish entertainment world, welcome back to the heart of the industry, welcome to News Around. We are gathered here today not merely to discuss a television series, but to dissect a cultural phenomenon that has transcended the screen and ignited a firestorm of debate across the nation. We are delving deep into the shadowy corridors of the Ezref Rüya set, a production that has captivated millions but also drawn the ire of critics. Before we unravel the mystery behind the tension involving superstars Çağatay Ulusoy and Demet Özdemir, I invite you to become a permanent part of our growing family. If you value independent, deep dive analysis that goes beyond the headlines, please crush that subscribe button right now. And for those who wish to champion our cause and enable us to bring you these exclusive insights, the join button is waiting for your prestigious click. Your support fuels our pursuit of the truth. Don't forget to like this video and share your initial thoughts in the comments. Do you think actors are responsible for the message of their art? Let's begin. The air on a film set is often thick with a unique kind of electricity, a palpable tension where the boundary between the fictional narrative and the stark reality of production becomes dangerously blurred. On the sprawling, meticulously designed set of Ezref Rüya, this atmosphere was recently charged not by the scripted conflict of the day, but by an intrusion from the outside world. Imagine, if you will, the scene. The director calls cut, the blinding studio lights dim momentarily, and the heavy machinery of filmmaking grinds to a temporary halt. It is in this fragile interlude of rest that the real drama began to unfold. The protagonists of our story, the titans of the screen Çağatay Ulusoy and Demet Özdemir, found themselves not facing a fictional adversary, but a phalanx of microphones held by journalists hungry for a headline. The topic at hand was heavy, laden with societal implications and moral questioning. For weeks, a storm had been brewing in the digital sphere. Ezref Rüya, with its gritty portrayal of power struggles, intense confrontations, and the raw, unfiltered reality of an underground world, had become a lightning rod for criticism. The accusation was severe and echoed by many concerned voices. Was this production setting a detrimental example for the youth? Was the kinetic energy of the action sequences translating into a glorification of chaos for impressionable minds? These were not light questions to be brushed aside with a simple smile. They struck at the very ethos of storytelling and the responsibility of the artist. As the journalists cornered the lead actors during that fateful break, the silence on the set was deafening, heavier than any dramatic pause written in a script. The crew, usually buzzing with the logistical chatter of the next shot, watched with bated breath. This was unscripted. This was raw. As we pause to consider the weight of this confrontation, I want to ask you, our loyal News Around community, do you believe that TV series reflect society, or do they shape it? It is a chicken and egg question that has plagued critics for decades. We want to hear your voice. Drop a comment below with your perspective. And remember, if you enjoy this level of detailed storytelling, hitting the join button gives you a badge of honor in our community and supports us directly. Thank you for being here. Let us turn our gaze first to the reaction of Çağatay Ulusoy. Known for his intense method acting and his ability to inhabit complex characters with a terrifying ease, Ulusoy approached the barrage of questions with a calmness that was almost unnerving. He did not stumble, nor did he offer a defensive, prepared public relations speech. His demeanor was that of a man who understands the distinct line between his craft and the reality of the viewer. When pressed about the criticism regarding the show's potential negative influence on the youth, his response was a masterclass in brevity and blunt truth. "You watch the first episode," he stated, his voice steady, devoid of apology, "and if you see it's not for you, you don't watch it." Analyze, for a moment, the layers within that seemingly simple sentence. It is a declaration of consumer sovereignty. It is an assertion that the remote control is the ultimate filter, a tool of power that resides in the hand of the audience, not the creator. Ulusoy's stance suggests a philosophy where the artist presents a vision, a story, a world, and the viewer exercises their free will to engage or disengage. It strips the debate of its moral panic and reduces it to a transaction of choice. However, this stoic pragmatism sparked a wildfire on social media. Was it too harsh? Was it an abdication of responsibility? Or was it the ultimate respect for the audience's intelligence? Behind the scenes, whispers suggest that Ulusoy is deeply protective of the artistic integrity of Ezref Rüya. Sources close to the actor intimate that he feels frustrated when the narrative complexity, the psychological deconstruction of his character, and the historical context of the show are overshadowed by a superficial focus on the action sequences. For him, the violence is merely a canvas upon which a tragic human story is painted, and to focus solely on the canvas while ignoring the painting is, in his view, a disservice to the art. If Çağatay Ulusoy was the shield, deflecting the criticism with the hard steel of logic, then Demet Özdemir was the mirror, reflecting the question back onto society itself. Her response to the same line of questioning introduced a profound psychological dimension to the debate, elevating it from a tabloid skirmish to a philosophical discourse. Standing amidst the chaos of the set, she offered a perspective that was nuanced, thoughtful, and deeply introspective. In my opinion, she began, her tone measured and articulate, whether each scene affects me has nothing to do with the series or the film, but with the individual's own perception. With these words, Demet Özdemir shifted the burden of impact from the external stimulus, the show, to the internal processing of the viewer. It is a bold argument. She suggests that two people can watch the exact same sequence of events. One sees a cautionary tale, a tragedy of errors, while the other might see something else entirely. The difference, she argues, lies not in the pixels on the screen, but in the mind of the observer. This emphasis on perception implies that our background, our upbringing, our psychological state, and our moral compass are the true filters of content. Rumors swirling around the production suggest that Özdemir did not enter this project blindly. It is said that she fully embraced the darker, grittier aspects of the script, believing fervently that storytelling should not always be a sanitized, utopian escape. Life has sharp edges, and art, in her view, must sometimes cut to be felt. By highlighting perception, she is essentially championing the idea that the audience is not a passive vessel to be filled with bad ideas, but an active participant who interprets meaning based on who they are. This deep dive into the psychology of acting and viewing is exactly why we created News Around. We don't just skim the surface, we go deep. If you are appreciating this analysis, please take a second to check if you are subscribed. It's free, it helps us immensely, and it guarantees you never miss a beat. For our News Around superfans, the Super Thanks option is also available below the video. Your support keeps the lights on and the scripts flowing. Now, back to the controversy. The moment these statements were publicized, the digital realm erupted into a cacophony of conflicting opinions. It was as if a dam had burst. On one side of the battlefield, a legion of supporters rallied behind the actors. Their arguments were fierce and rooted in the concept of liberty. No one is forcing anyone to watch, they typed furiously. Art cannot be censored for the sake of comfort. These defenders argued that holding actors responsible for societal behavior is a slippery slope that leads to the death of creativity. They praised Ulusoy for his directness and lauded Özdemir for her intellectual approach. However, the opposing faction was equally vocal and passionate. Parents, educators, and concerned citizens flooded the comment sections with counter-arguments. Is it really that easy to just turn it off? They asked. What about the subconscious influence on the younger generation? Are we normalizing conflict in prime time? The criticism here stems from a place of genuine concern for the collective psyche of the future. They argue that media has a pervasive power that transcends individual choice, seeping into the cultural fabric and normalizing behaviors that should be abhorred. This dichotomy is the beating heart of the Ezref Rüya phenomenon. It is no longer just a TV show. It has become a Rorschach test for Turkish society. Depending on where you stand, it is either a masterpiece of gritty realism or a dangerous influence. And right in the center of this storm stand Çağatay and Demet, continuing to do their jobs, continuing to memorize their lines, and continuing to embody characters that challenge the status quo. Now, we must put on our detective hats and look at the shadows behind the spotlight. In the world of high-stakes entertainment, nothing is ever entirely as it seems. There are whispers in the corridors of the industry, hushed tones in the makeup trailers, and speculation among the elite gossip columnists. One prevailing theory is that this entire controversy, this crisis, might be a controlled burn. Could it be that the intensity of the debate is actually fueling the ratings? In the business of show business, there is an old adage: there is no such thing as bad publicity. Some cynics argue that the producers are secretly delighted by the uproar, as it keeps the name Esref Rüya on the tip of everyone's tongue. Furthermore, questions have arisen regarding the spontaneity of the actors' responses. Did they receive media training for this exact scenario? Were they prepped by high-priced public relations consultants to deliver these specific soundbites? Our sources on the ground, however, paint a different picture. Those closest to the production insist that the moment was genuinely spontaneous. They describe the actors' reactions as raw and unfiltered, born from a place of genuine belief rather than corporate strategy. Despite the external noise, the internal morale of the set is reportedly surprisingly high. The crew, the unsung heroes who hold the boom poles and adjust the lights, speak of a professional harmony between the two leads that anchors the ship. Far from being rattled by the controversy, it is said that Çağatay and Demet have found a renewed motivation in the debate, a desire to prove that the artistic merit of their work outweighs the scandal. They are committed to the story, committed to the vision, and perhaps most importantly, committed to each other as professional partners navigating a storm. As we broaden our lens, we must acknowledge that this debate is not unique to Esref Rüya. It is a cyclical conversation that haunts the Turkish television industry like a spectre. From the era of early mafia dramas to the modern psychological thrillers, the question remains eternal. Where does the responsibility of the storyteller end, and the responsibility of the parent or the individual begin? Demet Özdemir's perception argument invites us to look inward. It challenges us to examine our own households, our own values, and our own conversations with the youth. Çağatay Ulusoy's freedom argument challenges us to respect the autonomy of the adult viewer. Both valid, both powerful, and both incomplete without the other. The synthesis of these two viewpoints perhaps holds the key. We need the freedom to create and consume art that pushes boundaries, but we also need the perception and critical thinking skills to process that art in a healthy way. The tabloids will continue to print headlines. The cameras will continue to roll. The scripts will continue to be written with ink that sometimes resembles blood and tears. But the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner of this content is you. The debate is far from over. In fact, it feels as though the opening credits have only just finished rolling. The table is set with violence, perception, freedom, and responsibility, and it seems we will be dining on this discussion for a long time to come. And there you have it, the full, unvarnished story behind the headlines. The clash of ideologies on the set of Esref Rüya is more than just celebrity gossip. It is a mirror reflecting our own societal anxieties. We here at News Around promise to keep watching, keep listening, and keep bringing you the stories that matter with the depth they deserve. Now, I turn the microphone over to you one last time. Which side of the debate are you on? Are you with Team Çağatay and the freedom of choice, or Team Demet and the power of perception? Or do you think the critics are right to be worried? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. Please, before you go, ensure you have subscribed to News Around. Click that bell icon so you are notified the second we upload. If you want to support independent, high-quality journalism on YouTube, please consider clicking the join button or leaving a super thanks. It means the world to us. Until the next scandal breaks, stay curious, stay informed, and keep watching News Around. Goodbye for now.